Hi, my name is Modern de la Serna. I'm base HM third year. What is a strategy formulation? When we say strategy formulation, is the process by which an organization chooses the most appropriate courses of action to achieve its defined goals. This process is essential to an organization's success because it provides a framework for the actions that will lead to the anticipated results. The first strategy formulation is setting basic objectives, which means the firm is initially sets provisional objectives. The reason is easy to find, until the measures needed to achieve them have been defined. It is not transparent whether these objectives are feasible, necessarily desirable. A set of objectives makes enormous good sense. Second is identify opportunities and risks. In this step, a firm has to consider how possible changes in the external environment are likely to affect the planning and decision-making exercises of the firm. The third step is evaluating alternative resource. In this step are to take stock of the situation of the firm, which is the available resources. In evaluating available resources, the manager is concerned with strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The first step is formulating alternative strategies, which is the company has to formulate possible strategies for the future of the business. This requires a vision of the various possibilities for meeting the needs of the industry. The fifth one is evaluating these alternatives. The process of evaluating alternatives encompasses both things, a financial evaluation and less quantifiable aspects. And number 6 is establishing basic strategy. In this step, a decision must be made as to the strategy to be adopted, and detailed plans must be drawn up as to show how to implement it. Then the number 7 is implementing strategy. Strategy is implemented as the organization develops specific plans to carry out the overall strategy. Then the last is evaluating strategy. No strategy is final. There is need for periodic evaluation of competitive strategy to prevent deterioration and obsolescence of the basic strategic approach. What is a strategy implementation? When we say strategy implementation, it's the process by which an organization translates its chosen strategy into action plans and activities, which will steer the organization in the directions set out in the strategy and enable the organization to achieve its strategic objectives. The first step in strategy implementation is define your strategy framework, which is the strategy is something that should be embedded in everything that you do. It should be in the DNA of the organization and its people. The second process is build your plan, which is where you start creating your plan. Now that you've got your framework in place, you're to move on the actual creation of your strategic plan. Then the third one is define KPIs, or Key Performance Indicators. It is one of the oldest management tools around because they work. Then the number 4 process, establish your strategy rhythm, is where you can start to establish your strategy rhythm, because people get so caught up in day-to-day process that they don't have time to focus on the big picture items that will keep the organization moving forward. Number 5 is implement consistent and simple strategy reports. In this process, it is focusing on reporting. Now that your meetings are in place, you will want to choose a consistent way of reporting the progress of your strategy implementation. The last part of a strategy information is link performance reviews to strategy. It is an easy way to get started with this is to create formal link between strategy and performance reviews. Strategy evaluation. What does it mean? When we say strategy evaluation, it means collecting information about how the strategic plan is progressing. Strategic evaluation is defined as the process of determining the effectiveness of a given strategy in achieving the organizational objectives and taking corrective action wherever required. The first strategy evaluation is fixing benchmark of performance. While fixing the benchmarks strategy, you encounter questions such as what benchmark to set, how to set them, and how to express them. The number two process is measurement of performance. The standard performance is a benchmark with which the actual performance is to be compared. The reporting and communication system help in measuring the performance. Then the third process is analyzing variance. While measuring the actual performance and comparing it with standard performance, there may be variances which must be analyzed. The strategist must mention the degree of tolerance, limits between which the variance between actual and standard performance may be accepted. And the last strategy evaluation is taking corrective action. Once a deviation in performance is identified, it is essential to plan for a corrective action.